Hello everybody, Marlene, aka Snow Gardener 307. It is Friday, so that means we are here for Back to the Basics. We are going to start off with Sharla's update for her budget. If this is your first time here, I have been working with Sharla and her family the past couple months. You might want to go back to the beginning to check out Sharla's journey and where she started. We are also going to talk about the buy now, pay later scam that is crippling so many Americans. So let's go ahead and get started.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a...
So let's go ahead and jump into Sharla's budget, shall we? Sharla's budget is going to not take very long today because they pretty much were spot on for the budget. I don't know anytime my budget is exactly perfect, but I would say this budget is pretty dang close. So I'm going to go ahead and put her budget right up here like I do every single Friday. We're going to walk through it pretty quickly today because there's not much to talk about. The income is exactly what they thought it would be. So you look up at the top and you see $1,913.87 was what the income was. And then you look at the bills. The only difference in the bills from budgeted to actual is it looks like their electricity was $58.68 higher. So that means they have to make that money up somewhere. And then as you scroll on down, you look at envelopes and digital, and Sharla has put their actual spending down there. The good news is that everything was under or spot on. So that is a huge win right there. I just earlier today put up my budget or my weekly spending, and I overspent on food. I spent $119 even though I only gave myself $100. So it happens to even those of us that are more practiced where we overspend. So a huge win for Sharla for her budget. Yeah, excited about that. So that did mean that they had less money as they were going through. And Sharla said that down at the very bottom, if you guys look, it says roll over some others putting in their sinking fund. And so she is kind of moving her money around. And you can see sinking funds didn't have anything budgeted to go into them this week. Debt snowball didn't have anything budgeted going into it. Emergency fund got $80, you guys. That is $80 more towards her goal. Don't worry if you can't put a ton of money towards a goal of yours, whether it's debt, whether it's sinking fund, whether it's investing. For me, you guys, if you watch me, I will make small money movements going towards our goals, and they do add up. You look at my games that I'm playing every day. Some days it's like $6, and we are talking a six-figure debt. It doesn't seem like $6 would make that much of a difference. So why even bother? This is the wrong attitude. Every single dollar adds up. And so I'm super excited that Sharla is staying on track, staying on budget, keeping her goals in sight, and her family as well. The other thing that Sharla started doing, I'm going to go ahead and put it right up here, is she went to my website, snowgardener307.com, and got the free download of my weekly expense tracker, and she is utilizing it. So I'm going to put it right up here. You can see that she has put all of her categories in there. She's put exactly what money she has spent, and she's put where she wants the leftovers to go. Tracking your money is the ultimate basic. That is number one basic rule of your budget. I don't care what kind of budget you do. I don't care if you use cash, credit, debit card. I don't care what you use. If you're not tracking your expenditures, then your budget most likely is not going to stay on track. You're going to overspend. You're going to spend money on something that you shouldn't spend. So then you have to back up and go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with this? I am helping my son right now. He moved into his own apartment at the beginning of August. His first time as a 20-year-old living on his own and paying all of his bills. And we just had this discussion yesterday. I think it was yesterday. All the days run together, you guys. Yesterday, because I had seen something. I looked at the balance that was in his account just because I was looking at my stuff. And I went, uh-oh, something's not right. So I shot him a text and I'm like, hey, you got this coming out? And he's like, oh my gosh, I forgot that was coming out. So he had to back up, right? We had to figure out how we were going to fix this issue that was in his budget. He does have an emergency fund. And so for right now, because he had already spent the money, he had to use some of that emergency fund because he had overspent. But for a 20-year-old In the second month living on his own, I would expect nothing more, really. I overspend myself. Like I said, I overspent on groceries. And so if you watched my short where I talk about my spending and how I was going to pay for it, I have to figure that out, right? If I overspend, I have to pull from something else in order to make up for the overspending. So make sure you're tracking your spending. Now, I want to jump into the biggest portion of this video, and it is an epidemic that we have in our country. It is something that is destroying Gen Z's financials along with a lot of other people. It doesn't really matter your age. And this is the buy now, pay later, or the BNPL. And there are three main there are three main companies that deal with pay in four, but there are others. We've got Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. Those are the three main. How many of you guys have heard at least one of these? Let me know down below. We also have things like Apple Pay. I also have on my credit card, I started noticing, you guys know that I do use my rewards card for a lot of my expenditures, and I pay it off every single month. And I can now do that. 5 years ago, no, Marlene could not do that. That's why she ended up with $50,000 in credit card debt. So I am very strict about what goes on that card. But I started noticing that my credit card was kind of, waving a little carrot going, oh, hey, on this bigger expense you've got right here, you can go ahead and push that out and pay in multiple payments. You know they want to do that, not because of interest, but because then I'll start overspending and won't keep track of things. And that is what we're seeing now. I have seen so many videos, you guys. I started researching this and I wanted to see what other creators, what news outlets, what people were talking about for this. And the things that I found really shocked me. And people are so uneducated, me included in that uneducated, about what buy now for pay later entails. One of the things that I think has made this, I'm going to call it an epidemic, this epidemic so bad, is we want instant gratification. I don't want to wait to buy that pair of shoes that I want. I want to buy them now. And I know I can't afford them, but if they're a $100 pair of shoes and I only have to pay $25 to get them today, I can do $25. Instant gratification. I want that vehicle right now. Oh, it's $120,000 and I'm going to be paying like $1,500 a month. It'll be fine. I'll be able to afford that along with everything else. And it is funny because I was just talking to Mr. Snow Gardener because he came in, and this is my second take of this video, because he kept walking by back there grinning. Let me input some of that footage right here. So I got all lost and flustered of where my video was. So I'm like, I just need to start over. But do most people actually think about whether they can afford something? We were just talking about that. And he has such a hard time with not having instant gratification. He wants a new snow machine. We've got two perfectly good snow machines. And yes, they're older, but they're perfectly fine. He wants a brand new snow machine and he wants it yesterday. And we're talking about it. And so we're talking about it. He goes, when we were doing his budget, he's like, I don't want money going into my guy things and stuff and vroom vroom. I want that money to go towards my truck. And I said, perfect, absolutely amazing. And he said the reason why, of course, he wants to get the truck paid off anyway, but the reason why he wants to get it done sooner rather than later is because he wants a new snow machine and he wants to be able to walk in and pay cash for that snow machine. At least the guy is learning something, right? Cash is king. So the buy now, pay later, it's just a major problem. It creates so many problems. First of all, if you've never heard of these, I want to give you guys some facts about these that I did not know. 1, they are not regulated by the government whatsoever. That means that Afterpay, Affirm, Klarna, any company that offers you a payment plan this way does not fall under any sort of regulations. That means they can create their own rules. That means that they can set astronomical finance fees and late fees. And guess what? When you clicked that little box or checked it or whatever happened to do the pay in for, it had those in the disclosures that were probably 63 pages, 8 size font that you didn't read, right? That stuff was in there. And that is what makes them so dangerous. You don't have to have good credit to get a pay in for. But you guys, I just saw this today. Let me show you.
It was only a matter of time for you people who have buy now, pay later accounts. Because it's so popular, FICO is actually making credit scores surrounding your ability to pay back those buy now, pay later accounts.
That's right, everybody. It looks like these companies are starting to show up on your credit report, which is a good thing because these are loans. You guys, I don't know how I can describe it any other way. They are little loans. You go to Chipotle. Well, maybe you don't even go to Chipotle. You DoorDash Chipotle. You've got a burrito. You're paying the DoorDash fees. And if you do the Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay, whatever is offered through Chipotle, then you're paying extra fees for that. You're paying extra fees for DoorDash. So all of a sudden you have a burrito that's $41 and you are paying for it in 4 increments. Food, a burrito, and you are willing to risk your financial security and your future for doing paying for on takeout. Let me show you guys this clip right here.
Buy now, pay later is how 60%, according to surveys, of Generation Z is paying for things month to month. They're not credit cards. So this is not regulated by credit bureaus. It's not regulated with credit checks. It's basically anything from Amazon to Instacart, groceries, clothing, furniture. You can finance anything. You can split a pizza into 4 payments. Sounds great, right? This is the modern tech economy.
Yes. And now I want to show you Tucker Carlson's response, which I'm going to bleep out, but you guys are going to you're going to understand.
Buy a pizza on credit?
Yes. It's
happening now?
You can go to Instacart right now and either through Klarna, Affirm, or Afterpay. Those are the 3 big actors. These are non-credit regulated bureaus.
Shut those down tomorrow.
That's right, you guys. These companies are so, what is the word? Toxic? Toxic is a good word, but they are enslaving people by letting them use pay in for to buy their burrito, to buy their pizza. It is unbelievable. And a lot of times people are like, I don't understand. It's not a big deal. A lot of people also are like, those shoes I wanted, pay $25 now. Future Marlene will have to worry about the next 25 or the next 3 payments if it's paying for, or the next 36 payments because I've done, 8,000 payments on the thing. Future Marlene will have to worry about that. That's not a now problem. That's a future Marlene problem. And of course, this is where we get into so much trouble. I encourage each and every one of you to do your own research before you decide to do a buy now, pay later. I do want to show you guys this additional footage right here.
Why is paying for so addictive?
I literally once financed a bottle of body wash.
You know what? I'm going to afterpay this. It's going to make me feel less guilty to pay it in 4 installments of $81 or whatever.
That's like having a black American Express to me. I can use it anywhere, anytime I get ready.
I'm using Klarna to pay for these Chris Brown tickets.
Look at this chart right here. This shows the total non-housing consumer debt in America over the last 10 years. And in 2024, Americans collectively owe more than $5 trillion.
Can you believe how much debt the U.S. is in? Well, not the U.S. The people that live within the country are in. It's an epidemic, you guys. And it's an epidemic especially for Gen Z. And the reason why it is especially for them, for a younger generation that wants the American dream, whatever version that is that they have that is their American dream, right? It used to be, the picket fence in front of the house, the dog, the 2.5 children. They used to, joke about that the average American size home was 2.5 kids. So they would joke about that. Husband and wife, but whatever version you have, your American dream, maybe you want no children. Maybe you don't, maybe you want to travel your entire life, whatever you want, whatever your American dream is, buy now, pay later is trying to destroy that dream. Because if you do not get yourself financially secure, you're not going to achieve that dream. That's just a sad fact. And it scares the crap out of me for my children as well as for my grandchildren that aren't even here yet, right? Because we have to think about our future generations. And I am trying to work with my 2 young adult children now, trying to help them understand the implications of these programs. We tend, and I say we, I'm including me, so this is not judgment, you guys. If you've watched my channel at all, you know that I have clawed my way back, right? Every dollar counts. I am not to judge because I had almost $50,000 in credit card debt as a single mom in the year 2020. I obviously made some bad financial decisions. And what's happening to our country in a whole is that the average age of a home buyer used to be 30. It was about 30 was the average age. Now, the most recent statistics show that the average age of a home buyer is 38. This breaks my heart for my children. I want them, if they want to own a home, I want them to be able to own a home. Now, is home ownership the only way? Of course not. We're not talking about that. But if that is something that you want, 38, that is a long ways into adulthood to be able to buy a home. Then, of course, we get into the rent, right? I'm paying rent in my small town. The rent is unbelievable. I am so happy that I'm not renting. I have some friends that are renting right now. They are looking to buy, and they are older. They're younger than me, but late 30s, 40s. And they're looking to buy a home. Their rent right now is $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month in rent, you guys. And I know it depends on where you live and everything like that, but that is just astronomical, right? To be able to pay $3,000 a month in rent. Even if it's $2,000, that is just insane to me. And that is one thing that the pay-in-fours are destroying. They are a major problem for all generations. They are a scam. They are trying to help people afford more stuff. Some of the reports that I saw said there are 100 million people using these buy now, pay later. You think about that. One question you've got to ask yourself is these companies, if they offer you 0% interest and no fees and 4 easy payments, how are these companies making their money? Have you thought about this? So how are these companies making their money? They're making their money off of fees as well as those late fees. And when you don't pay, the interest rates that can be added in. I saw a study that said 41% of BNPL users admitted that they had paid a late fee. You guys, late fees, interest, that's not where it's at. We looked at Sharla's buy now, pay later, and the amount of money that she is paying for something is astronomical. It's kind of like your credit cards. If you look at your credit cards and you've got $1,000 balance and it tells you that you will have that paid off in 2 years and you will have paid, $3,000 for that $1,000 in purchases. That's what we're looking at. And you guys, I encourage you to educate yourself. I encourage you not to use these at all, honestly, because if you can afford to buy the shoes for $100, then you can afford to buy them. But of course, what's happening, you can't even afford the shoes to begin with usually because you're using your credit card to buy them. and you've got just a little bit of extra room on your credit card, right? So $25 on your credit card. And then in 2 weeks, you need another $25 for those shoes that are going to come off. Then all of a sudden, not only might you be getting late fees or extra interest from the buy now, pay later, but the credit card itself might have fees. And a lot of times, you guys, when you go place an order on DoorDash or whatever, we are paying a ton of fees for those services. And me personally, I don't use those services because in my town, there is nothing like that. I've used them when I've traveled and stuff like that and been stuck in a hotel. But you are paying fees to DoorDash. The cost of your food is higher. Then you've got tips, you've got all of that, but all of these fees. And so when you look at these companies that are like 0% interest, no fees, nothing for you. These companies aren't just giving you a little loan and not making money. Their stock prices are going up. Why is this? The psychology is what is the problem here. Because like I said, if you've got a $100 pair of shoes, but you can pay $25 today, $25 in 2 weeks, or $25 next month, it makes people think that these things are more affordable than they are. Now, the concept of buy now, pay later actually started in Australia with Afterpay in 2014. And they use the concept of layaway, which is something that my mother used all of the time. I remember going to stores such as Kmart, getting items, taking them back to the layaway counter where they would bag up or box up your items. You would pay a % on those items for them to hold them, and then you were expected to pay it off in a certain time frame. Okay, so this is where this happened, right? That's what layaway used to be. And so these Australians decided, hey, let's take this concept and let's move it to the smartphone era, right? How can we do this? How can we make this a possibility? One of the problems is that you already have your item now, right? You are not going to get the joy of paying for that item and then getting that item. You're getting the item and then you're going to be paying for it in installments. So these companies, as long as you pay what you were supposed to pay within the time frame of the loan, they're not technically making money off of you. They're making money off of the company that you purchased from, because the company that you purchased from is paying a fee for that service being offered. So this is how these companies are making billions of dollars. However, with 41% of people admitting that they've paid at least one late fee, what does that tell you? So this epidemic that is going across our country is devastating to so many people. And as we watch Sharla, and when we go back to Sharla's very first budget, where I had to create a new budget format for her pay in fours, and they were all the way from the top to the bottom, the buy now, pay laters. This is the type of thing that's happening across the United States to all kinds of people. I don't care why it happens. I don't care if there's a medical emergency. I don't care if somebody lost their job. That is not the point. The point is that this is a problem. And nobody is talking about the problem. Well, some people are talking about the problem, right? Like I said, there's YouTube videos, there are news stories about it, things like that. But the younger generation is not understanding how harmful this is. So I encourage each and every one of you, if you're thinking about doing something like this, think twice, because you never know what is in the hidden text. Am I saying that you cannot use these buy now, pay laters? Of course not. I basically do that at Home Depot, right? I do, except for it's just through Home Depot. I have their credit card, which has an astronomically high interest rate, that when we make larger purchases for our fence, for example, that was a lot of money in lumber and all of the things that we needed. We did a large charge on that, and I believe it was either 6 or 12 months, same as cash, right? 0% interest. What so many people don't understand and they don't take into consideration is that if I don't pay that off by the time the end of the promo, then I pay all of the back interest. That's right. And I think they're close to 30%. So it is a lot. So, if I've got a $10,000 balance on my Home Depot card and that's what the original purchase was, and I don't pay for it, I am paying $3,000 in back interest just off of 30%. We know that's not exactly how it works with credit cards and interest and stuff like that. But I want you guys to think about this. And this is one of the things that if you are really wanting to improve your finances and you are really wanting to get your American dream, you've got to think about what your decisions are doing to your financial future. I don't care if you're 18 years old. I don't care if you're 25. I don't care if you're almost 50 like me. It does not matter. We need to think about our decisions. We also need to take time to understand why this business model is there. Because guess what? Businesses don't do things if they're not going to make money. And you have to realize where the money is coming from. Now, oftentimes, if a company offers these buy now, pay laters, they are actually jacking the price of their products up. Because if they have to pay, I have no idea what percent they pay, but say they pay 3% to offer this on their website, then they're not paying that 3%, you're paying that 3%. That's the type of stuff we see in DoorDash, right? And like I said, I don't do DoorDash. It's not available in my town, which is a good thing. We don't even have fast food. Where am I going to DoorDash from? Yeah. But just think about it. Be aware. Budgeting basic is be knowledgeable about what you're getting yourself into. If you don't understand something, reach out to somebody who does, right? If you are a young adult and you look at something and you're like, I don't understand what this means, reach out to a friend, reach out to your parents, reach out to somebody that is a little bit more knowledgeable than you. It is okay. That is the problem now in America, is that we want easy fix. We want that instant gratification. We want it now. I want to go on vacation right now. I can barely pay my bills, but I want to go on vacation. So I'm just going to put it on my credit card or whatever. That is not going to get you where you want to go in the future. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me today. And until I see you guys next time, remember to keep on smiling. Bye, everybody.
I have spent $32,196.23 on a Furman Klarna since 2022. And the big question is, what did I purchase?
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.